All right. Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to the CIS 4398 Capstone, Projects in Computer Science. It's our final demos. I hope you're all as excited as I am to see what our students have come up with. But first, I want to introduce what is Capstone? The CIS Capstone is designed to allow students to utilize the culmination of all their previous coursework and outside experience to build software as a team. This presents a lot of interesting challenges as working in a team-based environment to work on software is not always easy. Students heavily collaborate on their projects, brainstorming, using Jira project management software, and collaborating on their code through GitHub. Many students also choose to use modern frameworks such as React.js for developing web apps, stopping by my office hours to run through logic and design. And students also take on hardware challenges, whether it be soldering, 3D printing, or working with embedded systems such as the Raspberry Pi microcomputer. But developing software, it's not always just writing code. We also ask students to document their projects from proposal to requirement specifications, architecture design, and API specifications. We use a website builder known as Docosaurus to maintain these assets and artifacts. So without further ado, we have 9 projects this semester, which is kind of crazy. Starting with this section, section 701, we will have language learning Discord bot first. Be Real meets Slack will be second up, and code review chatbot will end it for this stream. But I encourage you to join us for the next streams coming up throughout the day. Section 2 will be presenting from 2 to 3:20 in Circ 306, but we'll also be live streaming that as well. There will be Lomo, Garden Sense Array, and Smart Speech. And then last in the day, another digital demo, which will be live here and live on Zoom, which will be Study Sync, Smart Mirror, and AR Pet Pals from 3:40 to 5 p.m. So really hoping you can all show up to that. And without further ado, Language Learning Discord bot, are you ready to present?
Yes, I think we are.
All right.
All right. Thank you for the introduction. Our project was Language Learning Discord bot. And real quick, before I start, I just wanted to give the opportunity for all my group members to introduce themselves because we had a pretty big group and they can feel free to share anything about the project that they wish. So, Abir.
Yeah, sure. So hello guys, my name is Abir Islam and I help working on the help command and the my progress command and other visual aspects. I'll hand it over to Alan now.
Hey everyone, my name is Alan, and my role was mainly the project leader, so mainly like getting a little bit of everything in a sense. So I'll hand it off to the next person.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Ewing. I primarily worked on documentation and just helping with the social cohesion of everyone in the team.
Hi everyone, my name is Jack Ariga Drago. I started working on the reach presence and then the leaderboard and also wrote the mock data for the unit test and finished with the documentation for the unit test.
Hi everyone, my name is Barry and I work skill related to voice recognition and text to speak for the bot.
Hi everyone, my name is Harsh, and basically I worked on the fill in the blanks command and worked on the database side to add the exercises there. And yeah, also did like sequence diagram and some visual aspects of the project.
Hello again. My name is Kevin. I worked on some of the voice features and I did a lot of scripting for our milestone demos. And I also help add data to the database.
Hey guys, I'm Justin. I mostly worked on some of the course materials like flashcards, as well as adding to the database and some diagrams that we had made up.
Awesome. So that's our group. So our team this semester worked on a Discord bot that would help users try to learn a new language on a platform known as Discord. So Discord is available as a desktop application. Also, you can use it on the website or on mobile, and our bot is compatible with others. So to start, this is kind of what the interface would look like. You can run a help command at the beginning just to get like a brief idea of our bot's capabilities. So the most important command, one could argue, is the command at the very top, which is change language. And currently, we only support Spanish or French because our idea was to flesh out as much of the bot as we could. And later on in the future, we can continue to add more language support, which is mainly data. This next set of commands here is mainly like more multiple choice type activities. So you see fill in the blanks, flashcards, and vocab quizzes. And I think this semester we managed to do something really cool. We also have a subset of activities that are related to like voice functionality, where you can interact with the bot with your voice. And one is slightly more focused on listening, and one's more on translation. So now I'd like to pass it over to one of my colleagues, Justin, who will highlight what the new user experience would look like.
All right, so just gonna go ahead and show you. So as a new user, the first thing I would want to do is decide the language that I want to study using the bot. This is super straightforward. I see my options are Spanish and French in the help embed. So I'm gonna try French as I've never gotten a chance to try that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put change language and choose French. So now, as you can see, the bot lets me know that I've set my language to French, and I can really start doing some core stuff. So next, let's see. So I would like to study some flashcards of French to see if I can learn. So that's super straightforward as well. Just going to enter the start flash command. And it's giving me a select menu to choose a unit, or I can randomize. I'm still a beginner, so I'm just gonna pick the first unit since I don't know too much yet. And so immediately, as soon as I choose a unit, I see an embed with the front of a flashcard and some options down here below. How do you say hi in French? Actually, I have no idea, so I'm just gonna flip the card over. Salut. Okay, so salut. Now I know how to say that. I'm gonna go over to the next card. Merci in English means, I think it means like thank you or please or something. Thank you. Okay, so got that one right. Next card. When someone says the chord, it means I have no idea. Go through this. So just like this, I can run through the set of flashcards. And as soon as I'm done, I can just hit X here, and there you go. Now I'm done my studying session, and I want to continue on to see what else I can do. Next, I want to put the flashcard setting that I've done to the test using the vocab quiz. So I'm just gonna look at the help command. I see it start vocab quiz. So I'll write that in. And based on my unit and level, this seems like it's giving me a quiz based on the first level that I'm on. So let's see. What does this mean? I see saladi, so I'm gonna assume this means I want a salad. Nice. Taxi. See, der Trover un taxi translates to, I'm assuming that's where can I find a taxi? And I'm just gonna run through the rest of the quiz just like that. Vin Rouge, I know at least that means red wine. St. Michael Street. And cheese sandwich. There we go. So now I've completed my quiz. I got them all right, and I have a total score of 50. So not bad. want to continue on. Let's see what I can do next. Let's try some fill in the blanks to further do some learning in French. Oh, I wrote that wrong, so nothing there. Right in, correct? All right, there we go. So it's giving me some options. This time, let's see if what happens if I guess something's wrong. I have absolutely no idea what this is. Fill in the blanks. I see my options here on the right that I can use to fill in this blank. I'm just gonna try Trente. This is probably not right. It's wrong. So let's see. I got that answer incorrect. It tells me the correct answer, which was actually 25, sync, and the full English sentence, which is 25. I mean, 20 plus 5 equals 25. Okay, continue on through the fill in the blank practice. This seems to be a number practice since I'm still in the first unit and getting used to this. Okay. And I'll just run through the rest. Total score, only 5. Oh, well. Let me see how I've been doing so far and look at my scores. So I see here a breakdown of my course experience so far. I'm taking the language French. I have a total score of 50 based on my quiz performance up there. And I took that on today, December 11th, 10:42. Keep learning and improving. So I'll go ahead and pass it off back to Kevin, who will highlight what the experience is for our returning user.
Yeah. So thank you, Justin. Justin demonstrated like what a new user experience would look like trying it for the first time, seeing your scores. But as a returning user, the way I might use the bot like might differ slightly. So we can see like the very first example of that being when I run my scores. There's way more practices and quizzes that I've taken here. Some as recent, well, as recent as November, so maybe not that recent. But one other feature we have that we kind of hoped would promote like community activity, like people in our server, is a leaderboard command. And it's pretty simple. It just shows usernames and the points of like all your quizzes, tests, and it lists every user that's like basically ever signed up to try out our bot. We do have also a my progress command, and it kind of divides things into units. It's pretty early infancy, but it allows you to kind of scroll around different units. And like if you want, you can take an activity out of like a specific unit. But I wanted to highlight our voice specific features because in my opinion, they're some of the coolest stuff that we worked on this semester. So if I were just to run help again so we can get a reminder, we have one called Start Voice Quiz. So it seems like it's going to be some kind of speaking quiz in the selected language. So I'm working in Spanish right now, and I am in a call. So I want to be on Discord too. All right. I'll just mute until I have to start. But it will ask me, for example, how do you say cat has 4 legs? So when I'm ready, I might practice now, like, oh, how do you say cat in 4 legs? And so when I'm ready, I can unmute and then I can press the record button. El gato tiene 4 patas. All right. So I don't think my Spanish is the greatest, and I just completely looks like I mispronounced one word. So one feature we have is it highlights what's wrong, and if you want to see where you went wrong, you can kind of click that spoiler embed, and just to demonstrate what doing everything wrong is. For example, if I completely did not understand the assignment, chicken has two legs. You can see that, oh, wait, I was supposed to translate that. I get a score of 0, and this is what the right answer would have looked like. And finally, we do have a more advanced version of this, which is our start listening quiz, which is kind of a combination of what I just did and also hearing. So you might be able to hear it.
¿Cómo estás?
Yeah. So the bot said "Cómo estás?" So it will ask me to repeat it. And if I press this play embed,
¿Cómo estás?
you can hear it again. And just in case, like, it's kind of difficult to understand, we do have this hint feature here, which just gives you the answer, like the thing you're supposed to say straight up. So I'll listen to it one more time.
¿Cómo estás?
Right. And then it's my turn to repeat it. ¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo te llamas?
All right, so it looks like I did pretty good job there. Got a score of 10, nailed the pronunciation on that. And then looks like it wants me to say, let me hear it again.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? Okay, so what is your name? So I'll do that. ¿Cómo te llamas? All right, and looks like we got that one done as well. So that basically covers our functionality for the language learning Discord bot. And, we kind of hope that people get a lot of use out of it. We think at its stage right now, it's kind of like fun to mess around with, and it could be the start of learning a language. So that is the end of our demo.
All right. Great job, guys. So before I ask the audience if they have any questions, what was the most challenging aspect of building this project?
I guess I could answer that, unless Kevin wants. I'm pretty sure the most challenging aspect of this project was probably the most recent functionality you just saw, which was the voice implementation. Honestly, when I was starting this project, I had no idea where to go with that. But luckily, I had like teammates like Barry and Kevin that actually wanted and that were eager to actually do it. They could talk a bit more in depth on how they went about doing that, but in terms of challenging, it was definitely like the voice implementation.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious how that came together. If you can go through that.
Barry, do you want to get through it? Barry did a lot of the heavy lifting with the open AI, so.
Yeah. So for first, we have challenge with the voice recognition. So and then we try to use the OpenAI. So it turned out that it worked well. And then after that, we decided to go far away. So we also do the implementation for the text to speech. And then luckily, so after a lot of try, so we get the text to speech function work well also.
Nice. Nice. Does anybody in the audience have any questions?
What did you guys use to process the language input?
So you mean how we recognize the voice, right? Or
Yeah.
we use the functionality of the Discord to record the voice of the user, and then we send the voice over to the OpenAI server so that it will process to recognize the text over the audio files. Yeah, is that answer your question?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. So, Katrina on YouTube asks, how did you deploy your application?
So we experimented hosting on a like a third-party platform like Linode, Kami, and then we ended up actually self-hosting it because we wanted other people when we made our release on GitHub to use their like own bot token and their own open API key. So it ended up in its final version, like for the demo, we ended up just local hosting it because we were making some changes and we wanted the opportunity for other people to try as well.
Cool. Yeah, and thank you for joining, Katrina. um, anyone else? Anyone else have any questions?
What was the next language that you were going to choose to implement? Because I know you said Spanish and French, but like I think the two most popular languages in the US besides English, obviously, I think it's Spanish and Chinese. So I was just curious, like, were you going to go with the more popular languages, or you're going to go with like the more standard route of like what languages people learn in like academic environments?
I can answer. I think you make a good point. That's definitely the route we went to at first, like Spanish and French. I'm sure like maybe a lot of us did that in high school, so that's kind of the way we were thinking. Most of the like for a new language, it would be kind of just having like a good team that maybe is willing to sit with Google Translate for a couple hours, or just having someone that's like actually super familiar with the language. So I think like Chinese, or if we wanted to go like the high school language learning method, we would have went after like German or something next.
Well, we have one
Cool.
more question from YouTube. How difficult is implementing new languages? Would it be a long process?
I guess I could take that question. Honestly, implementing it wasn't that difficult. It's mainly like set up in a database. So basically all the questions you saw, like in fill in the blanks, the vocab quiz, we basically like manually like implemented it into the database. So I guess in terms of how lengthy it will be, I mean, if we were going to implement like all the languages, it would probably take like months in a sense, since we all like basically added data individually and manually to each of the questions. So, but overall, like accessing them and actually, putting them in the database for users to display on Discord, I don't think it's that difficult at all. But yeah.
All right. Well, great job, guys. I think we need to move to our next project, the Be Real bot. But really, really great job. It's really come together a lot. So, a little round of applause here. Okay. All right. All right, Be Real, you're up.
All right, hello everybody. Before we begin, let's make one small correction here. So the Be Real moniker is kind of trademarked. So we've renamed the bot to the What You Doing bot. Just gonna put that out there for everybody. I'll start with introductions though. My name's Rishi. I'm the PM for this team, so I've been managing a lot of that stuff. But I'll pass it off to you, Giborg.
Hey, my name is Gavork. I'm one of the team members. I'm going to pass it off to Tara.
Hi, I'm Tara Feely. I'm also one of the team members.
I'm Nick. I'm another team member. I'm gonna pass it off to Sergio.
Hi, I'm Stojal. I'm another one of the team members. I'm going to pass it off to, I think, Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel, also team member. Gonna pass it to Vivek.
Hello, I'm Vivek, also another team member. Christian can finish the intros.
Hi, I'm Christian. I am also a team member.
All right. So Tara, if you could share your screen. So, Gevorg, I noticed that you were having some trouble with your Discord server for the work group chat.
Yeah,
I went ahead and I added this new bot I found. It's called the What You Doing bot. It's got a lot of stuff going on, but I think it'll help spark conversation.
cool. How does it work?
Well, as you can see, I just added it, so it spit out a message for us, basically telling us what we should do. So I guess we'll get started. And go in order. So it's telling me to set the submission channel. So let me go ahead and do that. What do you want it to be?
Probably off topic.
All right. So I guess all of our default submissions are out through there.
Yeah.
We should probably have some prompts so that it can prompt some users and, ask them some questions. What do you want those to be?
Well, can we set like a prompt per channel?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that.
Oh, that's cool. I want to keep the work questions, work related. Let's kind of put something for each of the other channels. How about like lunch? What did someone have for lunch today? Can we set that for the lunch channel?
Sure, yeah. What'd you have for lunch? All right. And then you said put that in the lunch chat, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's add another.
I guess like what's your pet doing right now?
Sure, yeah.
And if we could put that in the pets channel.
Makes sense. All right, nice.
Code support. I mean, I guess we can have people show their setup.
Okay. Put that in code support, you said? All right.
Yeah. And a lot of the team members like to really procrastinate a lot, so I guess we can ask them like what they're procrastinating with.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
just put that one to the off topic, that'll kind of spark some interest with everyone.
Assuming I spelled that right. Nice. And let's add one more. How about what shoes are you wearing?
Richie, I really want to keep this professional. So I
You
don't
don't
know
think
if I
that
really
works?
love that topic. Is there any way we can just like scrap that one?
Yeah, we can get rid of that.
Okay. I prefer if we, some people don't wear shoes sometimes, so I prefer if we
Yep,
just
yeah,
keep it,
no, good idea. No bare
Yeah.
feet in the chat. That'd be
Yeah.
all right. What is it
Cool.
asking us to do next? Oh, okay. We need active hours to see when the bot can post. Okay.
I mean,
So I'll set some
we
active
work
hours
9 to
up.
5, so let's keep it from 9 to 5.
Okay. I'm gonna keep it during work hours. Smart choice. Military time. That's what, 1700?
Yeah.
All right. Nice. So I guess let's see if it fires anytime soon now that we scheduled something.
I heard something go off.
Yeah, something went off.
Oh, I think I've been prompted.
Oh,
Okay. I think I'll submit a photo. Just slash submit. And then I'll see what the prompt is. It says, what's your pet doing right now? Well, I have a photo of my pet right here, so, I'll send that.
oh, okay. Cool. I just got it. Is that a pet rock?
It is, yeah.
I'm not sure if we really want if that's what we really meant by this. I'm gonna deny that. I'm just gonna tell you that a
I
rock
got a
isn't a pet,
message.
man.
It says, because your post was denied, you now have 1 strikes. Be careful not to get any more, or you may be blacklisted from participation in the prompts. Notice of denial, a rock isn't a pet. I don't agree with that, so I'm going to submit another photo again. And I'm going to say this time that my pet is my rock.
All right. You submitted it again. Okay. Well, I don't want to be harsh to your pet rock. He looks polite. Okay. I'll let him through this time, but try and get a better pet next time. Okay. We can see that it's posted. Anybody got any thoughts on that? Oh, we got a heart. Nice. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can get the bot to fire again, but 9 to 5 is a bit of a long range. Let me try to set the active hours a little closer to now. It's 11:03 right now. I'll set it for from 11 to 12. We'll see how that goes. Just to give people a handle on what the bot's doing.
Okay.
Oh, Nick, if you're talking, you're muted right now.
So I decided that I wanted to change my prompts to being private just because I didn't want anyone to see what I was being prompted. And what do you know? I got a DM from the bot. So I'm going to click and I'm going to do a submit. And I'm going to submit an image.
All right. Oh, okay. I guess we had a prompt in there just called hello, but I guess that image works. So we'll approve that. Nice. I like that image a lot. I'll give that a thumbs up. Cool. So across these two channels, we've gotten quite a few reactions. Let's see if we can save that data somehow. I'm going to export it into a CSV so I can download it and use it for later. But if I don't need that, I'll try and graph it and see if it comes up with a nice little visualization of what we've got going on. Well, we've only got 2 entries, but you can see we've got a ratio of prompts to reactions. Nice. All right. And that basically concludes the demonstration part of our demo. There is some added context as this is meant to be used in a research group. So data like this is just as important for people to have so they can basically see, is this research idea working? Is the project working? But yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea of how this can stimulate conversation and kind of spice up what is a kind of dead Discord server. Thank you.
All right, awesome job. Yeah, so I'm just going to start off with the pretty much the same question, and like what part, because parts of this application feel like really straightforward, but what were some of like the more challenging aspects of making something like this?
Yeah, I'll start us off. So I'll let as many people speak as they want to because this is a question that is different for all of us since we all worked on very different things. I'd say from my perspective, a lot of the work I did was groundwork. So a lot of that work ended up being how do we get the bot to store data in a database? How do we get the bot to read that data and work it into, these prompts and how do we get that to be like random and stuff? So a lot of that, while it felt straightforward at first, just to like think about, when it came to the implementation, it ended up being a little more roundabout than we would have liked because of some of our choices, like using Google Cloud at first. I know some features were a little different for that though. So Christian, I know you did a lot of the data collection. You want to speak on some of the challenges to that?
Yeah, so working with the Discord API, especially with Node.js, which is something that I'm not very familiar with, but now I am. You would get a lot of random errors, and I noticed that Discord's API was not particularly good on pointing you in the right direction as to why you are erroring out or what the issue is. So that was something I had to work with a lot. And setting up connections, and kind of, figuring out how the code base is meant to be structured as it kind of requires you to have a very good structure. And that setup was important. Like Rishi said, he did a lot of the groundwork there, so he was working heavily in that. But getting used to that developing environment, importing, exporting files, linking directories and such, it can get kind of complicated. And like I said, with the awkwardness of the Discord API and the stack trace that you get, it's not really the best. But I would say overall, A lot of it was pretty easy, but when it came to finding those errors, it would just be kind of difficult for me.
Going off of what Christian said, and what Rishi did for all the groundwork, something I thought was really hard was when I was doing the graph data and working with the database and all the back end stuff that Christian was doing. It did take a while because we had to make it guild agnostic so it could work in multiple servers at once, not just this one. This is a completely new server we actually made right for this presentation, so it's able to work in multiple servers. Javork also helped on a lot of the code errors, and there's so many times where, of course, like when you're working on a project, a lot of people are working on different branches, so dealing with the errors and merge requests and whatnot, Rishi was clutch and coming with the code reviews for those. So that was nice. Yeah, I think that's what I think graphing the data was the hardest because Discord really just doesn't like want to make your life easy. Really just try to ruin everything. So it was tough at first, and then we really got the hang of it towards the end.
Yeah, we initially had everything hard coded for a certain guild and a certain submission channel, and it was really difficult to kind of like spread it out amongst all the channels and for everything to not be in one spot all the time. So yeah, that was one thing that was a little bit of a challenge to kind of make it guild agnostic and have it post across multiple channels and save everything into a database based on the channel ID and the guild ID, just so that when you add a prompt, it's actually for your channel and it's actually for your guild, versus it being a global prompt, and it'll kind of work everywhere. So if you add another prompt in a different server, it won't show up randomly for another server. So yeah, that was something that was a challenge at first because we had everything hard coded, and then going from hard coding to not hard coding everything was kind of a challenge.
I think I can speak on like the errors. I did a lot of the testing. And so with everyone talking about some of these complexities with the Discord API, it was pretty hard to mock that data and mock the interactions and the clients. And I hadn't worked with the Mocha framework, so that was, I noticed the challenges of working with the Discord API as well.
Yeah. So Katrina's asking, is there a particular reason you chose JavaScript over Python?
Yeah, I can speak to this one. I made that executive decision early on because the Python, so one of our goals was to use the slash command framework, and Python does support it, but these Python libraries for Discord, their version 2 and onwards will support slash commands, whereas before that, they don't. So to get those versions to work and to actually use the libraries without a bunch of wheel errors and framework errors was almost impossible for our machines. So we didn't have the capacity to actually use that on our machines. So we just kind of had to work with what we had, and Node worked out pretty wonderfully for us in that regard.
All right. What was the reasoning behind switching over from Slack to Discord?
Yeah, we did some preliminary investigation. I know the project was initially called Bureau Meets Slack, and while the Slack Bolt API does take care of a lot of stuff, there's a payment required of making a Slack next gen application that actually that makes use of that Bolt API. So we weren't really able to access the API that we wanted to without having to spend and have a next gen Slack application for that. So we opted to take the free route, and Discord offered us all of its features without any charge.
Yeah, there's a lot less friction to building a Discord bot than a Slack bot, especially for student projects. Were there any pitfalls you encountered due to the async nature of JavaScript over something like Discord Java JDA? So many JavaScript questions.
Yeah, I can answer some of that because a lot of the data collecting is kind of awkward where some of them are normal functions and most of them are asynchronous. So initially when we were collecting all the data and figuring out how we were going to, we had to worry about the load times of doing such. Discord API is lovely. There's lots of very helpful things to, get data from, tight nooks and crannies that you don't think you would, for instance, like embeds. But it's just kind of going to take a slow process. Discord also like has just like a slow reaction to practically everything when it comes to scanning a Discord server. So that was difficult. And when you combine that with asynchronous and non-asynchronous functions, you have to really figure out what works and what doesn't. Things will collide, and every now and then did run into errors where it would either say this function's going, this function's not, this one's waiting on this one, and then basically it wouldn't be able to save any data, or a data point would be null when it should not be. So running into that was very difficult. I'm not new to asynchronous related things, but working with it in JavaScript, specifically Node.js, was kind of interesting. I'm not too sure if there's any differences between languages there with asynchronous structures, but yeah, that was something I had to learn, and just a lot of thorough testing on what data was taken and imported into the database.
And to follow up to that, one of the options I was heavily considering was the JDA, in fact. But for sake of time and not necessarily a need to learn sort of thing, JS was just a lot easier to jump into with their library. The JDA requires just a little bit more setup. So just to kind of get us running a little faster, we opted to use the JDA because it was more plug and play. Or not the JDA, sorry, Node.js, because it was more plug and play.
And then, okay, we have one last question. How does the data get saved when calling a command? That was from Charlotte.
So the data does get saved from calling commands, specifically the export CSV. We figured since the user wants to save the data literally, we should probably save the data as well. And then it's scheduled every night to save as well. So yeah, it does it on its own and when a user wants data.
Nice, nice. Come on, not now. Over, back. There we go. Every time. Yeah, no, this was a great demo, guys. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm sure now Steve had to step out, but I know he mentioned earlier in the chat that he was loving the demo, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the results of throwing it into these research labs and seeing if it actually does increase engagement or not. But yeah, really excellent job. So, round of applause. Woohoo! Let's go HCI lab. All right. Okay. Code review bot. It's all you.
All right, let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So thank you everyone for taking time out of your day to come join us and learn about our project. My name is Joshua Deland, and I'm going to have the rest of the team introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Dominic Malinsky.
Hi, I'm Jason.
What's up? My name is Joe.
Hey, my name is Cruz.
Hi, I'm Patrick.
Hi, I'm Tommy.
And again, I'm Josh, and we're the code review bot team. So I'm sure you have run into this scenario. You have a large coding project due soon in your class, or maybe you're at your job and you just took on a ticket from your manager, and you said you can complete it in 3 days, but then you realize that was a massive mistake. There's no way I can do that, but you have to. So you've rushed to complete the code. Maybe you haven't slept in 3 days, but at least it's functioning. So you sit back, you take a deep breath, and look back at your work. And it looks like this. So a feeling of dread rolls over you as you look at the mess you've made. Sure, it works for the most part, but how is your manager or your professor ever going to make sense of this? Not even your friends understand what you wrote. They just accepted your pull request
and said, looks good to me, without a second glance. But what if this leads to integration issues or massive bugs down the line? Well, there's no need to worry because you have the code review chatbot at your disposal and right within your integrated development environment. Every time you commit your code, the bot will look at your code and provide several ways in which the quality of it can be improved. And it lets you know where all the problems are. It can even fix small syntactic errors, such as if you forget a semicolon like a week ago and you forgot about it, can't find it. You can also ask follow-up questions and have a conversation with the bot. And because it's powered by GPT, it understands the context and can respond naturally. Now that you know a bit about the code review chatbot, I'm going to hand it off to Jason and Dominic to demonstrate its features.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Okay. So I see you're having issues with your code. I can see some errors. So let's go ahead and help you out there. What I want you to do first is install our extension. So if you go into the Visual Studio Code extension tab and search up CIS 4398, you should see our extension ready and to use.
All right.
Just remember that this extension only works for Temple University students, so you need a temple.edu email alias to access our API.
All right, so I'm going to go and sign in. If you click this button right here, it will redirect to our site and you'll be able to log in. It'll relaunch the VS Code. You can see in the bottom, it says, welcome back to the code review chatbot, Jason. And now I'm logged in.
All right, now that you're logged in and all set up, let's go ahead and show off the bot. So what you're going to do is highlight all of your code you have on screen.
Okay.
Go ahead and right click for me. Now, some of the commands that we have are the explain command or start conversation command. So the start conversation command, basically, you can start a conversation with ChatGPT and it saves your conversation so you can go back if you want to look at what you asked previously. The explain selection command is it'll explain what code you have highlighted. So say you only wanted to highlight a single block of code and explain it, you can do that instead of the whole file. The ask GPT command is the same thing as start conversation, but if you have a quick question and you're not going to go back and look at it, you can just quickly ask it. And then we have the task suggestions command. So if you want to run tests on your code, it will suggest the type of test you can run. And then the legibility suggestions will tell you how legible your code is. So now that we got the basic commands down, let's go ahead and show the commit detection. So go ahead and commit that file for me to your repository.
Okay.
So once you do this, it's going to talk to ChatGPT and it's going to trigger our commit detection. So just give it a second as it loads up with all the different checkboxes and what it wants you to see, and we'll go from there.
And you can see in the terminal, it actually blocks the user from committing before checking off the checkboxes. So once the checkboxes load, then you go through all the code review, then you'll be able to commit your files.
As you can see, it takes its time because it wants to give you the best possible outcome.
Yeah, let me try this again. Yeah, I know sometimes the bot just acts up and doesn't load the right commands. Just re-enable the the bot. Yeah, I think it is currently having some issues connecting to the server. We might have to try this locally. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. It was working perfectly fine. Let's just try to reinstall this. I think it is working. Oh, there it is.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we have all of our checkboxes loaded up. So now we can go through and see individually what it is telling us to do. So we have a couple options. So we have variable naming conventions, we have redundancy issues, we have buggy or broken code, complexity, legibility, and quick fix. Now, the first part I want to talk about is the quick fix function because it allows us to fix all those small and pesky little issues like semicolons that you might have missed or parentheses or whatnot. So go ahead and hit the quick fix button below and it will fix all the single line errors that we have.
Yeah, so for example, in line 22, the return statement is missing an N. And in line 13, it's missing a colon. So once we click this quick fix code, it automatically fixes it and saves it to the file.
So now that we have the quick fix, let's go through the checkboxes. So if we go all the way to the top, we see we have variable naming conventions, and it will tell you in detail if you want to hit the search bar, the little search icon, what more you can do with it. Sometimes there aren't any suggestions that it can give you because your code is pretty much done and there aren't any better ways to do it. In that case, you can go ahead and check it off and move down the list of checkboxes.
So you can see we ran the command and it actually prints out the output in the same box so you can keep track of your the commands that you have asked to the bot. So we'll go through one more, for example, complexity. And there it is.
So before we commit our file, we might want to do a little more testing and code suggestion. So if we go all the way down, we have a couple options. So if we want to learn more about the previous suggestion, we can go ahead and click that button and it will give us even more information about the suggestion that we just got.
This one usually takes a while.
I think the backend's having a little bit of an issue. So you want to go back to the next box? We can come back to this.
Yeah. Okay, so say you want to ask ChatGPT a quick question. So just like earlier when we right-clicked and showed the command, we have that button individually. So if you go ahead and click that, it'll pop up a little text box above, and you can ask a question to ChatGPT.
Or I can just say anything to the GPT. I'll just say thank you for your feedback. It'll say you're welcome and all that.
All right. Now, say you want to have a longer conversation, or you're going to go back and forth with the bot. So you can go ahead and hit the conversation of GPT button, and that will open up a brand new window. And in this window, you can have a conversation with ChatGPT and go back and forth between your different tabs, so you can keep track of what you've been asking it and the answers it's giving you.
So I'm just gonna do this again, and this should actually just stay within this box. So once we clear this conversation box over here, this should still be here. So this is better for longer term conversation with the bot.
And once you've gone through all your checks and you're confident that you've gotten the best suggestions, you can go and hit and check off all the boxes. And then you can go ahead and commit the file.
Yep. It's going to prompt me again, but I'm just going to say yes, and it will the commit will go through then.
Now that ends the demo part. Handing it off to Tommy to show the admin part and how everything actually works.
Thank you, Dominic. We're going to switch gears a little bit and go to the website. So let me just share my screen. So over here on the website, there's a little bit more than just logging in. So over here, you can go ahead and click into the dashboard once you're logged in, and it'll bring you to this page. And right at the top right here, you can do a little bit more with your profile. Say you want to edit anything with your profile, you can do that here. I'm not going to do any of that in this, but over here in these API tokens, this is where whenever you do log in using the extension, it'll create an API token over here, and it'll just be right down here. And this will be helpful if, let's say you want to delete it out, you don't want to use it on Visual Studio Code anymore, you can just delete it out here. Or let's say you can't, it's having trouble logging in, you can't do it that way, you can create one manually here. So I'll just create a test token here, and it'll give you a token. You can just go and copy paste that straight into your extension settings. And then you don't have to deal with this login redirection if it doesn't work right for you. So just switching over a little bit more, the account I'm under right now is an admin. So we have this admin panel page. Over here, this gives a little bit more of an overview of what's going on with this extension in terms of the users here. We have all the users that are currently connected. And then also we have live sessions. If anyone's actually running it, you can manage them and see if you want to do anything there. Right now, no one's using it. But then also we have logs here, which this actually keeps track of all the people that have currently used it. It'll keep track of what they've actually sent, what they've actually ran. Let's say right here, Jason just checked off those check boxes. It'll show it right here. And then also with this commit, it'll show the git hash, which you can go ahead and see exactly what he committed. And then also right here, it'll show the git diff, just show what actually he committed. It'll show the content of that. So all this stuff over here in terms of the logs, it can be helpful if you're trying to do a little bit more analysis on seeing what suggestions were good for users and what, like which ones are being used the most, see if it's actually helpful. So that's pretty much it for the admin panel. All we got left is the OpenAI status page right here. It'll just redirect you straight to here. So if you're having any issues, you can always look over here and make sure that everything's working right. And it is right now. That's pretty much it for the website. And I think that's it for the demo too. Anyone have any questions?
It's a really excellent job, guys, and I think it really shows just sort of the stakes involved in live demos, right? Things don't always go exactly as planned. I guess my first question would be, what was possibly going wrong with the server that was causing it to kind of, because I was watching the logs as you were working, and it kept like sending response error or something.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, since I was already logged in before the demo and I kind of logged out and did all that for the demo, and I think there was some kind of miscommunication between the server and the actual extension. That's why you saw once I reinstalled it, it was working, and I think that was the reason why it was not working initially.
Okay. And then the other question I have, which is just kind of a funny question, because before the demo started, you all messaged me that the API key was running out of money, and I'm looking at the numbers and. Jesus, expensive. My question is, did anything like change, or like what were you thinking about when with like what could be causing those costs to increase, or throughout? Like, I know we've been using it a lot more. I've been using it. So is it like a usage, like that the usage is higher now? Or is it something to do with the systems changed?
Well, I know I was using it a lot the other day because we were having issues with the quick fix thing not working. So it's pretty much making changes to that and then going over to the GPT, running the review each time to test it out, make some more changes, go tweaking it until it works. So I knew I was using it. I would probably use loads of that in the past couple of days trying to get that to work right.
Yeah.
So probably a usage thing mostly.
Probably is. I've been using it for various projects right now. So it's kind of nice to see something, that functionally works for you. Okay, I did have another question about it. Actually, you know what? Let's start with Katrina asked a nice question. If you had another sprint, what would you prioritize next?
So obviously, as we deploy the actual extension to the store and like we kept testing it and we got more users testing it, there were just bugs coming out here and there. I guess that's the nature of like a live extension. So I feel like a lot of the bug fixes can be done, and we have a couple of the known bugs that we already know. So I feel like the bug fixes would be our priority if there's another sprint.
Do you think it would be possible for GPT to automatically check off some of those check boxes, like the ones that it knows that you did a good job on? Would that be something that would be possible?
So that is something that we looked into during the process of creating the checkbox. And we, as a group, didn't think that it was possible. Like, I guess like the scope of saying that this is good isn't really, like, GPT just throws a lot of different responses. So we would have to track all those responses that's saying it's good for this checkbox and kind of put it all together and make it detect by himself. Like, we thought it was too complicated for the given time. So maybe that's another thing that we could work on if we were given another sprint, but we couldn't get it done for this particular class.
I think the only way we could have is if we like had something check if like there are certain keywords in their responses, and then that would like trigger something that would check it. But like depending on what they say, it could not be in there or be in there. So
An even more technical question I have is how are you mapping those responses to the checkboxes on the extension? Because it's very consistent. So how are you able to maintain that consistency?
do you mean like how is it listing the checkboxes and then knows that it's well, because the way I kind of to make it show a list of things, you have to do all this like trickery to prompt it correctly so it parses into this very specific format. I'm very surprised GPT hasn't like failed to do that more often because sometimes it'll just like not do what you ask for it to do, but it's been pretty good with that. And then based on each object, there's like a title for it, which is like the first line of each object, and then that's connected to the ID of the checkbox, so it just knows that's what it's checked, what is checked.
Nice. Nice. That's impressive. Um, does anybody else have any questions? This is another one of those projects that I'm excited to see in a lab environment. It's also one of our human computer interaction research projects. So this should be definitely interesting to see. Do you have any suggestions for if we take the code and continue it on, what are some of the things we should like watch out for, or think about?
Um, I I would say I'm sure my teammates agree, but watch out for what like the API is doing because it's hard to track tokens and like why it wouldn't work or like why it's all of a sudden 9,000 tokens. And that obviously can run up expenses. So making sure you have like fail safes and error, like better error handling to check for that. But
Yeah.
just for your bank account.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Rishi asks a pretty good question. How do you guys reconcile like the suggestions when ChatGPT makes like a factual error? Do you make those checks? Is it possible to make those checks?
Honestly, that is not something that we have thought of. We kind of thought that the suggestion that it's giving is correct. We just add that as a base, but I'm sure it happens sometimes. I guess there is a way to detect that, but we haven't really looked into it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's one of those tricky parts with using these large language models right now. It's just having that kind of oversight. It's just more and more layers. But so far, from my uses of the bot, it has been pretty consistent. The only thing I will say I noticed is that sometimes it will be pretty assertive about like things that it thinks that you need to fix, and then sometimes we'll be like, yeah, no, you're all good. So, but it's usually very consistent, and there's a ton of benefits for it to not entirely give you the answer, but also just kind of coax you into thinking on your own about these issues. And I guess that is a great question. Do you feel like this is a type of project that you'd recommend for future students to work on?
Like work on to
Like a
develop it
VS
even
Code
more?
extension?
Either develop this even more, or even like using AI in Capstone projects. Do you feel like this is something that, because I know it's definitely it's a hot topic right now. Yeah.
Well, when we initially got this project, we were really lost. It was a hard project for us, not gonna lie. There are just so many aspects of this bot that just goes the connected. We have to set up the server and like the database and the front end, like the UI and all that. It was really complicated, but I think it's the scope of Capstone project. So if there are other AI related, ChatGPT related projects for Capstone class in the future, I think it'll be a really good learning experience for them. And also, I think this bot specifically can be worked on even more. We have like the basic functionalities down, but I think there's a lot of ways that you can go with this and even develop even more.
Yeah. No, it's really, really awesome. Should definitely be proud. I think honestly the entire class should be proud of what they've done. It's been a crazy 17 weeks. Like 17 weeks. Yeah, it's been really, it's like you've had a lot thrown at you. You've had a lot of challenges, and you all overcome all of those challenges. So, um, yeah, great job. And just for the audience out there, I really hope that you can join the rest of the demos. They're gonna be really interesting. We still have it's just a whole demo day. So from 2 to 3:30 and then 3:40 to 5. So join us if you it's still going to be on YouTube, or you can go to capstone.ianapplebaum.com. It'll be right at the top. So yeah, I'm going to end the stream for all of you, but thank you so much for joining. And I'm gonna say my little goodbyes to the class. So thank you so much.